Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Mandatory Post Fight Show. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO. Brian, we have a lot to unpack because this one might scream robbery. Before we get into that, I do want to say, though, despite the fact that I'm not happy about this decision, and I'll tell you why, I did get my bet right, which
You
was
did.
Artur Beterbiev by decision, and that was a plus 700. It was wild, but I like that aspect of it. But I don't think the right man won.
But I should have
And
got mine right, is what you should have said.
yeah, but
'Cause I had Bivol winning
it
by
didn't happen
decision.
today. You know what I mean? Not today, Brian. Brian's up on, like, I don't know what her record is, but I'm pretty sure Brian's up on when it comes to betting. So I'll take the W. However, I'm sure Beterbiev will as well. By the way, keep the comments coming, guys. We are going to get into all of your comments in
Yes.
just a moment.
Yes.
But Brian, when you take a look at the scorecards, one was 114, a draw. The other one was 115, 113. And the other one was 116, 112. They gave the fight to Artur Beterbiev by majority decision. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought they were going to say Dmitry Bivol because the way that I had it scored, I only gave Beterbiev 4 rounds. I had it scored 116, 112. His two best rounds were the 11th and 12th. And the whole time I was thinking, man, he should have turned it up earlier, but I guess it doesn't matter because he got the win. Chris Mannix asked Bivol after, he was like, do you feel like you did enough to win that fight or whatever he asked? And it's like, what more could have Bivol done? Like, what more does he have to do to win this fight? Because I thought he boxed beautifully. Your thoughts?
I had a feeling something like this was going to happen because judges oftentimes reward aggression, just pure aggression, even if it means the fighter is very inaccurate with their punches. And if you were tracking the punch stats all night long, Artur Beterbiev was like half as accurate as Dmitry Bivol was, basically, for most of the night. I don't know where it landed. We'll have to see what Copybox has, if they have all the punch stats accurately. Let's assume, like, they've been doing this for a long time. I thought Dmitry Bivol outboxed him and won 8 rounds to 4. I gave Artur Beterbiev 6, 7, 11, and 12. Thought he finished the fight strong. And I thought, you could say he was walking down Dmitry Bivol, but Dmitry Bivol, like, knew what he was doing. He was beating him off the back foot all night long. He was owning him with his jab. His footwork is great. Like, he was boxing tremendously. I'm not sure, like, what more he could have potentially done. And the judges, of course, just reward the guy who's coming forward, who did land some shots and had plenty of moments. I don't think Artur Beterbiev had enough moments to claim enough rounds to win this fight. I think this was a robbery, and I don't like using that word, and I don't use that word very often, but I think this was a flat-out robbery because I don't see a world where, and we talk about nuances and scores, like I could see Dmitry Bivol winning this fight 8 rounds to 4. I could see 7 rounds to 5. A draw is even like a little too much for me. Like, I'm not even sure I can get there. To me, Bivol won this fight, like, without much debate. And I had a feeling we'd get at least one draw on the scorecards. I should have bet probably majority decision either way. And ultimately, Artur Beterbiev gets the win for being more aggressive and because he finished strong. And I just disagree with that decision.
Yeah, when you take a look at the punch stats, I knew that the cards may be a little bit different than what I had, which was 116 to 112. And Brian and I were talking throughout the fight a little bit. And when I saw that he landed more punches than Bivol in the 7th and 8th, and then he also had the 11th and 12th round, and I think maybe you could argue to give him the 6th, maybe you could argue to give him the 3rd, but I actually don't think it was that close of a fight. 8 rounds to 4 isn't a close fight to me, but I think they thought, the judges, and what we saw is Beterbiev was stalking Bivol, but I just don't think that he was landing the cleaner shots. And sure, he had some really good moments, but they were later in the rounds. And sometimes I don't think he did enough to win those rounds because he started off too late. So I still gave a few of those rounds to Bivol because I thought he boxed better. Now, I don't know what Bivol has to do to win a fight against Beterbiev because I thought, remember, a lot of people were saying he would have to fight a perfect fight. I thought he did.
Practically. I mean, I don't know what more he could have done. The scorecards have been posted, like the actual scorecards. We're not gonna go like round by round, but I did find it interesting that Artur Beterbiev got round 3 from all the judges.
Okay, I gave him round 3 actually.
I think that's the first like true swing round of the fight where like, okay, you can probably give that one to him.
Oh
And
yeah, my scorecards are right here.
and I said 6 and 7. He got 6 from every judge. One judge gave Bivol round 7, which is interesting, and both judges gave Beterbiev 10, 11, and 12. Well, that's interesting.
I think 10 was a
10,
swing round. 10 could have been a swing round. But
you
in
could probably
7,
talk me into a draw being fair. I don't.
yeah,
I disagree, but I think Bivol won this fight, and
I don't think it was a draw.
there are going to be people who think that it was probably a better BF fight. I don't see how better BF. I don't see how you could give him 7 rounds in this fight. I just don't.
Here's another thing about the fight, and please keep dropping those comments, y'all. We
We
are
do.
going
We
to
have a
get to all the
donation too.
comments.
We have
Oh yeah,
a lot.
if you donate to the channel, we just go straight to your comment. I just shut up. This is Tyrone the Great, who always, by the way, front of the show. Tyrone, you always donate to the channel, so we do appreciate you.
You can read this one. This is
Oh,
funny.
my favorite people. Wolverine won. A close fight. My favorite X-Men character, by the way. A close fight that was scored on aggression. Ben fight got weird, and Sky is just having fun. Good early night of boxing.
We'll get to the undercard later, but the Ben Whitaker, oof. I mean,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, okay. You were about to say, as in regards to this decision, because we're still processing this in real time, because it just happened like 20 minutes ago.
This is interesting because Timothy Bradley also mentioned this. Didn't live up to the hype. I don't feel
I disagree
like
with
it
that.
did.
I disagree with that. This is a fight this is exactly the fight I expected. Like we were talking about it on the show. This is exactly, I thought Bivol was gonna outbox him successfully, have these moments that it would be maybe relatively close, but I thought Bivol would edge him out, and he did. He just didn't do it according to
You know
who was
what I think
judging
it
tonight.
was? You know what I think it was? For me, I thought Beterbiev would have more moments. I don't think Beterbiev had a lot of moments in this fight. Particularly the 11th and 12th round. If it was the 11th and 12th round like 3 more times, I would have been like, okay, I'm satisfied. But I didn't see that type of aggression from Beterbiev. But he won the fight, and thank God my bet hit.
A lot of his shots were getting blocked. Like he was struggling penetrating Bivol's high guard, which we talked about in the preview.
Yeah.
He was really struggling with that, and he wouldn't go to the body. Like he was so damn stubborn about it because he's a headhunter.
And he should have.
ESPN
He had a beautiful
ESPN broadcast, which did a better job than the Zone broadcast, if we're being honest. But the ESPN broadcast, they outlined that both guys like only throw to the body 16 or 17% of the time, like each. Basically, it's very low.
Which is crazy because Beterbiev is a great body puncher. He had a nasty liver shot in the 11th that I think did kind of hurt
Bivol was backpedaling a little bit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he fought so well off the back foot. Let's get to some comments, Brian, because listen, they're going to have a rematch, you guys. They're going to have a rematch. Yeah. And so we want to get to all of your comments. Let's get to a friend of the show, an OG, Mateo. It was close, but not that much. Bivol should have won. I gave 5 rounds to Beterbiev, and that feels generous.
That's a 115, 113 card that Mateo has for Bivol.
Luis Porto, Bivol is a class act always. That guy Trouble. Oh my God, what a robbery. But I'm so glad I watched the show before I put my bet in. Shantelle, you're the GOAT. You're the only reason I bet by decision. It was like such a long shot. But Bivol's never been knocked out before. And you know, I'm not happy about it, but I'm happy about my bank account. Okay, so
Bivol has a chin, by the way. Like we found that out today because he did take some clean shots. Again, Beterbiev did win a few rounds, but I mean, Bivol did get clipped a few times, and he stood there and took it. He responded. Like we did find that out. I'm going to be excited for the rematch. I just don't do that shit in Saudi Arabia.
I think the rematch is going to be dope.
Don't do it in Saudi Arabia.
I just need Beterbiev to turn it up a little bit.
I want a better atmosphere. I want a better atmosphere for this fight.
Yeah, it was so funny. The crowd was like chanting for Beterbiev after, and then when they thought Bivol was winning, they're like, Bivol. It was hilarious. I was like, okay, now they know that Bivol's winning, but Beterbiev won. Anyways, let's
surprised that we got a Sierra, Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes performance before this. I like all 3, but like I don't know.
Missy's killing it. That's a great tour, great concert. Alfred Miller, Bivol was definitely robbed. So we are seeing thoughts of robbery here. Good fight and bad decision
I
from our
agree.
friend Jay.
I
Let's
agree.
get
It,
to a
it
good
was a
friend of
good
the
fight.
show.
It was a good fight. Let's not overlook that. But
Hustle
man.
man. Beterbiev dictated the fight and won the championship rounds, which are important to a lot of people, the 11th and 12th rounds traditionally. Some rounds was so close, it was hard to score, all depending on what they were looking at. See, this is a great comment because I always wonder how judges score, what they look for, and other judges may look for other things. So if, you were thinking about someone that was controlling the fight, stalking the individual. Like Beterbiev didn't even cut off the ring like I thought he would.
No,
Like
I
I'm not
thought
even yeah.
out the gate, especially. Like, he struggled with it the first half of the fight and got better with it as the fight went along a little bit.
I'm not even like I know Beterbiev won, but I'm not even happy with his performance, which is so weird. Like I'm judging his
Because he
performance.
didn't really win.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like, we'll continue to do it. But to Hustle Man's point though, like this is the thing about judges in the sport. Like there's not one way to win a fight, as we know, and judges just look for different things. It's just evident that the judges tonight were looking for aggression, which that's tough if you're Dmitry Bivol. But I actually did think, to your point, Chantel, that he was aggressive enough because we saw him retaliate against these combinations, especially early on in the fight. Like I thought he was dominating early on, where look, he would get touched and then he would fire back. Like he was doing a lot of the same things he was doing against Canelo that kept Canelo off balance. And in that fight, he didn't get as many rounds as he should have because all the judges had it 115, 113, 7 rounds to 5. When honestly, I thought he won like 9 rounds against Canelo Alvarez.
yeah. Let's get to this comment because this is kind of funny. That guy Trouble. They did the same thing to me in the Oshaki Foster fight, bro. Pure robbery. But FanDuel paid me back on that one, I guess. Yeah, you know what? It's as long as you want some money,
Rematch coming up.
we dig that. Canelo went toe to toe with Bivol. Yeah.
Bivol went toe to toe with Canelo.
Bivol's high guard B.
Yeah, his high guard was not. Look, he was very good defensively. He was very sharp.
And he was also able to break through Beterbiev's high guard a few times and land that jab pretty cleanly. Like I thought Bivol landed some very clean shots. Hustle man. I think a lot of people think Bivol won because they're used to Beterbiev knocking out everyone. I just don't think he had enough moments. I don't think that he outboxed Bivol. But yeah, I mean, a knockout would have been crazy. But I had this going to decision. I could have seen Beterbiev turning it up and maybe winning through rounds 9 through 12 by knockout, but it's interesting.
Copybox posted the punch stats.
Okay, let's read them out.
Let's get to this comment first. Eric Avila, Bivol usually goes 12. Beterbiev always goes under 12 and needs a rematch. That's an interesting way of like getting to that conclusion, but I agree ultimately. Like I said this when we were talking about this earlier. Like I think this could be a trilogy, and then both guys could retire after. Like Beterbiev, especially because he's older. I think if this next fight does happen, I don't know, spring, summer, whatever, and Bivol actually gets to win, then yeah, you have to do a third fight. So we might get multiple rematches.
Let's get to those punch stats that you got pulled up.
Okay, so total punches landed. This is interesting. Bivol actually landed more punches. In totality, he threw a lot less. But he landed more. He landed 142 of 423. That's about 34% of his punches. Artur Beterbiev landed 137 of 682. That's 20% of his punches. So it goes back to what we were saying at the top of this. It all depends on what are you looking for. Are you looking for accuracy, or are you looking for just volume? Or are you looking for someone trying to sort of bring the fight to the other guy?
I will also say, though, that's actually pretty good against a guy that's one of the best defensive boxers in the world. Like Beterbiev was able to get to him and land on him. Also on that front, pretty impressive by Beterbiev because Bivol rarely gets touched.
The problem is Bivol landed 1 in every 3 punches and Beterbiev landed 1 in every 5. So I think there's something there. And then in terms of power punches, Beterbiev 90 out of 306, Bivol 84 out of 168. So Bivol landed 50% of his power punches. and landed just 6 fewer in totality than Beterbiev, who landed about 30% of his power punches. So that's interesting as well.
Let's get to some more comments
And
here.
both landed 31 body punches exactly. So not much body work today.
Let's stick with Eric because he said a draw is appropriate. Oh, I think a lot of people could probably say that, like, if you wanted to.
I would
Al
have
the
rather
Pal
that.
knew it was going to 12.
We
I
have a
mean, yeah.
donation.
Oh,
Yum, we'll
gotta
get to
get
you
to
in a second. Big surge. I had Bivol winning in the first half and Beterbiev winning most of the second. I had a draw at the end, but not mad if they gave it a Beterbiev. All I would say is Big Surge, probably clarify the scorecard, because if you had Bivol winning the first half, do you mean every round or do you mean like you had it like 4-2, 5-1, just so I can understand the math? But point taken. Yum's comment. Let's go back to that one.
Yeah.
We have a lot, so we gotta. Yum also
Keep the
said it was a
comments
great
coming,
fight.
guys.
Tim Bradley. Tim Bradley kind of annoyed these days. Successful narratives. I actually like Timothy Bradley, man. I gotta be honest. I actually like Timothy Bradley on commentary. That's the same as saying I agree with him most of the time. But we're pro Tim Bradley in terms of like,
Yeah.
him being. But I don't agree with him all the time for sure. But I thought he was fine on commentary tonight.
No, I thought in the beginning they were hyping up Beterbiev a little bit extra than Bivol, and I was like, "What is Timothy Bradley watching right now?"
His own
But
too. His own
yeah,
related
they
too.
do that. Sometimes I'll watch the fight without the commentary. I'm not gonna lie.
Same. Yeah.
Sometimes I do that because I don't want to get influenced by whatever they're saying.
Yeah.
Al the Pal had Bivol up a bit, if anything, a draw. Yeah, like if you're saying a draw, I can get down with that. Natter, regardless of everyone's thoughts on the decision, that was a razor close fight, and they need to run it back. I'm with you on running it back. I guess you could say it was razor close, but for me, I didn't have it that way on my scorecard. So maybe I got to go back and watch it again. And, punch stats, it's really depending on how people are scoring it. Who had the 116, 112 card? Did they give it to Bivol or Beterbiev?
No, it was all Beterbiev because he won the
Okay,
majority
yeah.
decision. So there was one draw and then a 7-5 and an 8-4 for Beterbiev. Giving him 8 rounds is kind of nuts.
Greg rigged. That's a short, simple
I don't want
way
to say
to put
rigged. I don't see why you would rig it for
Beterbiev.
I don't see why you would rig this.
I don't think you can even rig this fight.
Now, if you want to say karma, because if you look in the Dmitry Bivol's personal life, there's some sketchiness there that you could look into. That there's a lot of accusations, is what I'll say. And his ex-wife, I think was actively rooting for Artur Beterbiev to win this fight.
That's interesting, man.
I suppose she got what she wanted. So
yeah, that's a really good rap diss song. Al the Pal, maybe because the main event was with ESPN and they got Top Rank, and Top Rank got Beterbiev. Okay, so some conspiracies here, Al. I like it. Yeah, we both like it, and I was a very.
I mean, Eddie Hearn was there too, but I understand.
Let's go to Alfred. Beterbiev didn't make any adjustments during the fight, although Bivol's high guard was very effective. Yeah,
I agree, Alfred. I agree. That's the thing. Like Beterbiev, again, I thought he should have threw more body punches. And Bivol's high guard, but also his lateral movement. You tweeted about this, and we talked about this earlier this week on Thursday. And I talked about this even before that. Like he wasn't just gonna chill on the ropes. Like that's not how he beat Canelo Alvarez. Like he's great at pivoting out of those situations. Like he kept using the ring. I don't know how big the ring was. It didn't look that big on TV at least.
It looked decent. It looked like a decent size.
He was able to use like every angle of it.
Yeah, for sure. This one's kind of a funny comment by Hustle Man. All they kept showing was Bivol's work on the highlights. It's true. They kept on showing him on the highlights and he didn't win the fight. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's very interesting. It's kind of funny. That guy Trouble. Bivol kept giving up the ends of the rounds. True. His level of activity kept dropping at the end. He was slipping punches through, but he wasn't closing out strong. You know what it was for me though? That guy Trouble. It was like I thought Bivol controlled most of the round, and then Beterbiev would come later in the rounds. But I don't think he did enough to win the round sometimes. But if you think he did, then I could see where you could have that be a swing round.
And there were a couple times we talked about this when we were texting, like there were adjustments that Bivol made because there were a couple times later on, maybe 8 and 9. I'm trying to remember the exact rounds, or 9 and 10, where he tried to close strong and did, because it was like And there was one round in particular where he didn't do much at all in the first 2 minutes, and then the last minute, really the last 45 seconds, he really kicked it into another gear and was, giving that output that you would want to see, that aggression that you would want to see Bivol did. So, um, listen, I thought like there could be a conversation to be had. I want to rewatch this fight, see if I come away feeling differently, because that has happened before. But generally, I mean, it probably won't happen if you have a fight 8-4. Maybe you'll come to a 7-5. Maybe you'll go to a 9-3. I don't think it'll be a 9-3 sort of decision after that. And then Mark leaves a comment here. If you have more, listen, we're here. We're going to talk about the undercard soon, but I think there's probably worth getting into another one or two things in this fight. Mark says Beterbiev couldn't answer what adjustments he made. He thought he lost. I caught that too.
Yeah, you know what? He's Canadian though, so a win for us.
What was the other comment that we just
I think
had
it
there?
was. I was going to Luis. Robbery is crazy. Bivol wanted to box in the middle and was forced to be on the back foot with effective pressure. I thought he fought pretty well on the back foot though.
I don't think you lose a fight if you're fighting on your back foot. And I think this is how the judges got to their conclusion. Maybe they think if you're backing up, you're losing, but I don't think that's not boxing. You can win if you're fighting on the back foot, if you're doing it effectively, and if you're doing it in a way that's not super timid. I don't think Bivol was timid at all. I thought his punch selection was great. I thought there were times where he was more aggressive than Artur Beterbiev in spots. And I thought a lot of Artur Beterbiev's aggression led to inaccurate punching. Some of it didn't as the fight went along, but we saw the punch stats, and I think that in this case accurately reflects what we saw. I don't think the punch stats always do that, but I think they do it more often than they don't. And in this particular example, I think they nailed it.
I'm gonna go with Greg again because Greg's had some good Comments. He got ripped off. Greg is just short and sweet, you guys. I dig that. Mark, I thought Bivol won. He looked shattered and thought he was robbed, but very classy still, I thought.
Yeah. They're gonna do a rematch. There's gonna be more money in it too. I think there's gonna be more intrigue now.
Yeah, for sure. Natter was just going to say there was a 3-round stretch, I think, where Bivol had been winning and then came out looking tired, and Beterbiev still a round or two there. And I think that was the difference. You know what? That could have been it, because I do feel but some of the rounds I feel like were swing rounds. And I will admit that there were a few rounds where I kind of started because I'm like, I wonder what the judges might have for that. But I would be okay with the draw, you guys. I'm just gonna say, like, if I had to accept something, I think it would be a draw. But yeah. What do you think, Bryan?
We need to normalize in sports interviewing referees and judges and officials after these things, so that we can get their thought process, not just talk to the athlete about how they may feel like they got screwed or whatever the case may be. Because I legitimately want to know, like, what did the judges see? I'm not saying this in like a dismissive way, but all right, so I disagree with your decision. You have Artur Beterbiev winning 8-4. I have Bivol winning 8-4. Can you explain to me why you have a completely different scorecard? And let's actually like we do on this show, we talk about things. Yeah. We don't fucking we don't do some of the shit that other channels do, I would say. I would just want to know what
I was just retweeting something. My bad.
Yeah, I would just want to know what the thought process was. Was it just the aggression? Because that's what I assume it is, and that's what generally it appears to be. So
yeah. Let's get to Greg again. Yum was like, yo, it was a great fight. Greg was like, no. Greg, you're a friend of the show, man. Thank you for joining us today. Your comments have been hilarious. Alfred Miller, Bivol showed plenty of aggression. I thought he was showing more aggression than Beterbiev at one point.
Yeah.
I was enjoying it.
Yeah, I thought he did too, but I'm saying I wonder if the judges felt like because of literal output, that Beterbiev had, won the aggression battle, so to speak. But I don't think throwing more punches doesn't mean you win a fight.
Natter. So yeah, I agree with his comment here. Somewhere in the 6, 7, 8 area for sure, because even on, I believe, the CompuBox stats, Beterbiev outlanded him in 7 and 8. So if you were looking at those stats, maybe you gave those rounds to Beterbiev.
Tell you right
the
now.
7th round, I'm not gonna lie to you guys here. I did not give any of those rounds to Beterbiev. Maybe the 7th.
I gave him 7.
Yeah, I started 7, but I still gave that one to Bivol. So I don't know. I mean,
Wait,
I'm not a judge, okay? I'm an unofficial judge on my couch drinking kombucha. I'm like, that's what I was doing. I was such an old lady before the fight. I was like, man, I'm old now.
I
All
thought
right.
about trying to like become a judge on the side, but like,
We've talked about this. One of my friends just became a judge. Armando, shout out to him, big boxing guy too.
yeah,
All right, let's go to
we
Yum.
we went to this
Oh yeah,
one.
Yum.
Greg Bivol schooled him. Greg with the one-liners, bro. Um,
Yeah.
Luis Porto says Canelo versus GGG, Triple G. Can't believe I just said
Ooh.
that. Triple G vibes. Anyone? In terms of the punches, by the way, the outlanding. So Beterbiev outlanded Dmitry Bivol in round 3, but he was 9.5 percentage points less accurate. He also outlanded him. They landed the same amount of punches in round 6, but Bivol was twice as accurate, and obviously Beterbiev was twice as active in terms of output. Outlanded him around 7. Bivol was 14% more accurate. Bivol threw 35 punches. Beterbiev threw 74 and landed 17. Bivol landed 13. Beterbiev also, and Beterbiev, the only round that he was more accurate than Dmitry Bivol was round 8. It's the only round
Oh my god.
in the fight. This is the only round he was more accurate than him, and he also landed more punches than Bivol. Landed more in round 9. And Beterbiev, it was close, but landed barely, just one more in round 10, one more in round 12. So some of those later rounds were close in terms of that, but Bivol was more accurate in 11 of 12 rounds.
All right, so this is like not what you were talking about right now, but your fellow Puerto Rican, Edgar Berlanga, just tweeted, I would stand toe to toe with our author, like a book. He wrote like, he didn't spell Artur Beterbiev, he spelled author, and knock him out. No IQ, no head movement. Like, that sucks when you say author and then you say that he got no IQ.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay,
Edgar.
anyways, I just had to tell you guys that.
Edgar. Let me just say this. Like, he's really on one after the Canelo fight. People are really going to be rooting for him to lose his next fight. I don't think he will, because they'll get him a fight he could win. But, man, he's going to have to, like, reprove himself. So
I feel like that's good for boxing, though. Like, I hate
No,
to
I
say it.
agree.
He's so good for boxing. It's ridiculous.
People
He's
want to
really
see him
good.
lose, and ultimately in this particular sport, that's good for business. So.
Yes. Steven, who did you guys have winning? I had Bivol maybe 7-5. Felt like a robbery.
Agreed. 8-4.
Yeah.
Both of us. 8-4. Bivol.
Yes. So we agree with you, Steven, but a lot of people say it could have been a draw. I would be okay with that. And there were a lot of swing rounds. So you know what? Maybe this isn't a pure robbery. Maybe just a robbery at nighttime. You know what I mean? Not in daylight. Let's go back to our good friend Hustle Man.
It wasn't a GTA heist on the scale of robberies.
Yeah.
I miss doing those. GTA 6 though.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either.
During COVID, my friends and I just like would play online and just do missions.
Yes.
That was the best during COVID.
Yes. I miss blowing up other people's helicopters. It was great.
Yeah. All right. Everyone knows Top Rank gives out the worst robberies, but this fight, I wouldn't call a robbery. It was really close. Some people do believe that as well. Mark, I agree Bivol had a classy answer, but he can't say anything bad when Turkey is paying him. Yeah, that's true. He can't really speak his mind, but I give props to everyone that is speaking their true feelings about Turkey. Bryan actually sent me some pictures of people holding hands with Turkey.
It wasn't people. It was Frank Warren.
Oh my God! Yes, it was. It was Frank Warren.
Like people were saying it's cultural, then other people were saying homophobic things. I'll just call it what it is,
which is not cool, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, but
it's just funny because it's Frank Warren.
Turk's got these dudes in a headlock. Hopefully not literally, but
okay.
We could talk about Turk another time. Steven, back to you. Thought Bivol made Artur gun shy and look ordinary. Artur only turned it up and looked like himself in 11 and 12. It's closer to what you were saying just a little while ago.
Yeah, I believe that. Let's get to Frank, who's the friend of the show. Boxing's dead.
This is right. Yeah, I enjoy the one-liners from the viewers and listeners.
There is a comment on here. I'm not going to go to it because I don't think it's appropriate. But if you look at the comments,
let's
stick with Frank.
If we do a conspiracy theory, if we have a Patreon one day, we're supposed to do a membership thing. We're overdue to do that because we have the criteria. But if we do that and we have like special episodes that aren't available to the public, we can get into some other shit.
Yeah, because we have shows that you guys don't even know about. I'm not even playing. I will say though, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button, guys. It helps the channel grow. We do appreciate you. And thanks again to Tyrone and Big Surge for their donations today.
Yes.
Let's get to some this comment. Boxing is a joke, aside from Nio anyway. But why does he always fight on a holiday? You know, he's fighting on Christmas Eve this time, which, by the way, we will be doing a post-fight show. We have to.
Tired of Nio anyway fighting on holidays, but love watching him fight because I do appreciate that it gets me up early and it's like 8 a.m. and we're like done.
Yeah.
But stop doing it on holidays, bro. Like
Tyrone the Great. I can see it going either way. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't be mad at that either. If some people really thought Beterbiev won. And, you know, we're seeing this in the comments as well.
Let's go to Jay. I don't like the Saudi event. They don't get excited. I feel like they're not true boxing fans because they're not. They have the money to fund these events. They're not fans of the sport. Like they're I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it today. I'm just not gonna do it today. All I'm gonna say is like y'all know what this is. There's a reason they're putting up money to fund this, and they're trying to put up money to fund other sports or whatever. They're trying to make us forget about all the other shit. Like, let's move on. Let's see. We have.
Well, let's go to Hustleman's comment because he's a friend of the show and he's right about this. Post lives popping today. Channel's growing slowly but surely. Good stuff. Subscribe, like, and vibe out. Please, guys, if you like the channel, subscribe and like. And thank you so much for that comment, Hustleman. Always a friend of the show. This is a funny one from Steven as well. Either Turkey paid off the judges or they're incompetent and they don't value their lives.
I don't like accusing promoters of paying off judges, but Turk ain't really a promoter. Like he's a different type of dude. So I don't know, but I don't like, why would he, if someone said it in the comments, why, but like, I'm not going to accuse him of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't know. I'm not going to be irresponsible here.
Arlanda, Bivol let off the gas in the final rounds. That costed him the fight. You know what? I don't know if he let off or Beterbiev just turned it on. You know what I mean? I think it was more of that. But if Beterbiev fought like that earlier, I would have no problem with it. But he just kept on coming in too late in the rounds for me personally. That's why we need to see a rematch, and we will. And there's going to be more money in it, and it will make all the sense in the world.
To Orlando's point, though, and if you're just doing the breakdown of it, Bivol would have gotten a decision if he won one of those last two rounds to the judges, right? Like, because the one who had a draw would have had it for him. The one who had it 115, 113. Well, actually, no, he would have just fought to draw because he wouldn't have gotten that card either. But you get the point. Like, he probably could have ended stronger, but I thought he did enough. And I don't know if he let off the gas in those last two rounds as much as Beterbiev, just like turn it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure, for sure. Let's get to Val. Val's left a couple of comments, so we got to go to Val. It is unacceptable. I'm fuming. You know, sometimes these decisions can kind of piss you off. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what are you seeing? But consensus, I feel like it's mixed emotions, Brian. We're seeing it in the chat. Some people believe Bivol won. Some people are like, you know what? Very close fight. Could have gone either way. So consensus, no one's agreeing. Right. So that
I like that.
Yeah.
Listen, we welcome difference in opinions here as long as you keep it respectful and no one's being a dick. Turkey grabbed Dana White's hand too, and he was clearly uncomfortable. I did see that clip going around actually. But again, apparently it's a cultural thing. Buck Preacher, we haven't put you on. Welcome. What a joke. The Turk won't get my money again. I will go back to PBC. And then Luis points out that the fight was free. It was on ESPN Plus. Well, not the whole card, but the main event was on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I love that. Go to our boy Hustle Man. Turkey on his ditty.
Zero comment. No comment at all.
We're not going to say it. We want the channel to grow, okay? We don't know if it might get shut down. We don't know what powers Turk got. Yanju.
I told you I'd love to interview him, but he would never do that.
No.
And who am I? Like, why would he do that? You know what I mean?
Maybe one day. Okay. Give yourself some more credit.
I don't got that kind of pull yet.
Yanju, yes. Everybody said Beterbiev was old and knee injury. Give him credit. He didn't look 39 years old. I thought he won. I thought he looked in better shape than Bivol. Like Beterbiev is in great shape. And I don't think his knee was that much of a problem. All that lateral movement from Bivol, I was impressed. I agree with this. I don't think that he won, but I agree
Beterbiev,
with
you
it.
don't think he won? Yeah. I mean, he was slow to get going. It's hard
Which
to
he
say.
usually is, though. Like, he
Yes, I
never
thought he
really
was
starts off
slower.
fast.
I thought he was slower because I had a hard time finding him one of the first 5-6 rounds.
Yeah.
You know, and at that point, like there were people like, "Yo, Beterbiev needs a knockout," and he clearly didn't.
Some of these comments are so great. We're not going to put them up, but so I just know that we are seeing them. Some really funny ones. Mark had a really funny one. If you want to go take a look at that
I
one.
see. No, I see. I see. I see.
Yeah. Emmanuel had this same card as us. Well,
It,
no, he's saying that 8 rounds to 4 for Beterbiev is insane. Yeah, all there. So that's the thing. I would love if the judges would give an explanation on what their criteria was for scoring, because most of the time in close fights like this, I'm left being unknown and wondering how they were scoring it.
let's briefly get into the undercard. Although let's answer this question first, Hustle Man. What other live show? So we do this, but we also cover other sports. If you don't know, like our individual stuff, Shantelle works for TSN. That's basically Canada's ESPN. I could say that, right?
Yeah,
Basically,
that's right.
yeah. Football reporting, also has done lacrosse, a whole bunch of shit. And I work at Action Network and New York Post sports section, not the news section. Have to clarify that because it's an election year. But
Yeah.
yeah. So there we go.
I was gonna say though,
Mostly
for my
basketball and
fans,
boxing on my end. Also, I didn't mention that part.
for me, it's like football, soccer. Once we get into the playoffs, TSN's gonna get those games over Apple, and also like I do lacrosse, do some basketball here and there. I've done like literally every sport sideline. But I will say
Same.
Toledo messed up my parlay today. Stupid ass Toledo. They were like
Oh,
a
yeah.
favorite, and I got every bet right except for goddamn Toledo.
Okay.
Stupid
Let's.
Toledo on my
I had,
part. I'm disappointed. They should have never lost to Buffalo. The spread was a -22. Anyways,
Jesus.
but at least I won on the better BF bet.
Never bet on Maction. All right. Undercard. Because I feel like we beat this to ground, but we agree. By the way, follow us individually on our stuff as well. We agree that Dmitry Bivol probably should have won this fight, and we are expected to get a rematch, so we can sort of leave that there for now. What stood out to you most on the undercard, I guess, because we're not going to go fight by fight, but
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I
things.
had my fantasy draft and there was football on, and I did not watch the undercard. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You did see the Fabio Wardley knockout.
I did. I was doing my fantasy draft though, and also it was like the Red River rivalry game. There was no way I was gonna watch the undercard over football. Like there was just no way that was gonna happen for me today. And also South Carolina almost upset Alabama.
I'll say this: like Chris Eubank Jr. got his knockout. Some people were underwhelmed by the performance overall. I want to see Chris Eubank Jr. in a big fight because I think he's interesting. He's entertaining. It looks like they're just setting him up with Conor Benn, and we've talked about this on the show before. And this was before Conor Benn started dealing with all the all the suspensions and things of that nature. But like, is that a fight you care about now? Even still, even with Conor Benn having gone through what he's gone through.
Yeah, because I still think at one point there was so much hype on Conor Benn. It has died down, but that's still a fight that I would watch, that I would be into. So yeah, I'm interested in it. Give me that fight. Give me Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. Like, are you not interested in it at this point?
I'm interested in it, but I want to see Chris Eubank Jr. in like a
bigger fight.
Yeah, but I still think it's like that's a big fight in the UK. That's
is
a fight like I will gladly, and I wouldn't even mind doing a live on it. I will gladly be like, okay, it's 5:30, 6:30, 6 o'clock, whatever, and I'll watch the fight. What happened?
There's just like a really funny comment by Don't Do This. And he's there's food mentioned in it. It's like it's a really, really funny comment.
Well, his name is Don't Do This, or her. Hustle Man, let's get into Ben Whitaker because I saw the end of this.
Okay.
And also, like I saw like the fight was unspectacular, and people are accusing him of trying to figure out a way to get out the fight. Liam Cameron, who he was fighting against, and Ben Whitaker took a tumble outside of the ring, fell on the
I saw
apron,
that. Yeah.
Royal Rumble style, if you watch wrestling like I do. And Ben Whitaker was injured and deemed unable to continue, and it was ruled a technical draw. And I mean, he didn't look great before that. And people were saying he looked like he looking for a way out. Hustle Man actually made an interesting comparison. I thought about this as I was watching it. Ben Whitaker quit like Montana Love did against Steve Spark.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but I ain't going to say you're wrong. Like Ben Whitaker, he like I had heard going into this fight from somebody in the UK, like this is probably going to be his toughest test. And I was like, really? Liam Cameron? That's interesting, because I thought his last fight was supposed to be, but you know, you progress as you develop or whatever. And I mean, evidently, like it was a test, and we don't, like, Ben Whitaker didn't pass it either.
Yeah.
Because of the conclusion.
Luis Porto. This is an interesting one. Hopefully we get that instead of Canelo versus Eubank.
Is it Canelo versus Conor? I don't think we're getting Canelo versus Chris Eubank Jr.
Tyrone the Great. When I looked at it, it looked more like he may have stuck or twisted his leg before he got pushed over the ropes. Okay, so I think we got to take a look at that highlight again.
Yeah. Or did he bring him over? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, did he listen? This happens in wrestling all the time. Like, it's possible. It's entirely possible.
This is an interesting one. It was pay-per-view here in Australia. Shout out to Australia for joining the show, by the way. Australia in the house. I won't buy their pay-per-view again unless Bivol gets a rematch. He will get a rematch.
I want to visit Australia. Just that flight is so long.
Yeah, you're on the East Coast. It's not that long here.
I need to save a little bit more bread so I can get first class.
Yeah,
I ain't trying to.
Just use the points, man, and upgrade. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Just use the points and upgrade.
You fly first class?
Yeah, or business, because I fly for work, right?
Okay.
I don't sit in economy anymore.
Yeah, let's go.
But it's like I get the points from work, right? So it's like I always get a chance to fly business or first class. So I just upgrade. Anyways, that's not the point.
You got TV. You got TV money over there. You got gambling money over here. So I can't say shit. I can't say shit because I don't want to do the same thing as you.
Al the Pal. We getting some shitty fight from Canelo though. Everyone's getting on Canelo though.
Christian and Bealey, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who Canelo's going to fight next. Chris Eubank Jr. has been rumored though.
Okay, this is interesting. From Hustleman. No BS. Beterbiev Bivol isn't pay-per-view worthy. It's such a nerd fight. Like, we love it. Everyone in the chat room right now loves it. But I think to the casual fan, like someone asked me, one of my friends hit me up and they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, watching boxing. And they're like, what fight's that? And I was just ignored it. There's no time to explain. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I love it. Like, it's a good fight that we love. But I agree, because they're not the biggest names, and they should be, that not every fight is pay-per-view worthy. Like, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah. Like, they're excellent at their craft, but they're also not pay-per-view stars. Both things could be true, despite the fact that Dmitry Bivol beat Canelo Alvarez. But you know, I think that could be like a bias toward both of these guys are originally from Russia. Like, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. This is an interesting one from Alfred. You could talk about this because you saw the fight. Hustleman Whitaker wasn't showboating. What fight were you watching? Hustleman then responded to Alfred.
His previous fights.
Okay.
Yeah, Whitaker didn't seem like himself. Jayo Pataya also was he was great against Jack Massey. Got the stoppage. Yeah. People are excited about him. I don't know if he's going to, like, I don't know what his plan is, but obviously he's consensus like the best or one of the best cruiserweights in the world. He's obviously a champion. I wonder if he'll move up to the heavyweight division, but the DAZN broadcast talked about, and he said this, that he'd be open to even dropping down and fighting the winner of Bivol Beterbiev, which I think people are going to have to wait in line for, because it looks like this weight class is just kind of going to be where it is for a little bit, because they're going to rematch, and we'll see what David Benavidez and David Morrell do. But if he drops down to light heavyweight, and if he could do it in a safe way, because cutting weight, that's going to be tough, but I'd be interested in that.
let me tell you guys something. I believe, and I'm going to say it right now, my hot take is David Morrell and David Benavidez will be so good. We're going to want a rematch after that fight.
Yeah.
We're going to want a second one. Those two guys. And the fight is
I thought you
going
were going to say
underneath the
David
radar.
Morrell's going to win. That's what I thought you were going to say.
I don't know how I'm betting. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how I'm betting that fight. It's too good.
Are the odds out? I don't know either.
I'm telling you guys, we're going to want another one. We're going to want another one of that. We got to go to Yum here. This is hilarious. If Shakur is having a pay-per-view event, Burt and Bivol. Very true, Yum. Yes, if Shakur is having pay-per-view events, you know, he's a great fighter. Some people don't love his style. Like Shakur boxes beautifully, but it's not for everyone entertainment-wise, especially when he's not getting busy and throwing his hands.
Dmitry Bivol proves that you can be an entertaining counterpuncher, because I actually think the way he fights is entertaining. It's not like he doesn't fight like, you know, Canelo Alvarez does, or like a
Tank.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or a Teofimo Lopez.
He's not that, but he's not someone who's just waits and waits and waits and waits and then counter, and then they throw like 10 punches in a round. Like, you're not going to see Dmitry Bivol 10 punches in a round, 10 punches in like a bunch of rounds. You're not going to see Dmitry Bivol just like he's not going to have the what was it, the Edwin De Los Santos fight?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to have that.
I will say this though, as much as Devin Haney's getting a lot of hate, I love watching him fight. Like, he takes chances and he throws. He puts on entertaining fights, I feel like. And so when I think about him and Shakur, I'd rather watch a Devin Haney fight over a Shakur fight.
I think some people would disagree with you.
Maybe. I mean, who's more entertaining, Devin Haney or Shakur? At least Devin takes punches to the face.
Too many.
Yeah.
And that could also be because he might not be as good.
A new friend to the show really quickly. Let's go to Derek.
I like this comment. If you box before, you'll know that Bivol got robbed. Listen, I thought about this. Like, if I were Dmitry Bivol and I did all that and I didn't get this, I'd be, oh my God, I don't know what I'd do with myself. I have no idea. And you know, I like counterpunchers.
You just made a character on Undisputed. By the way, guys, we're gonna give a full review on Undisputed, but Tyrone's comment was too great. If Shakur and Devin fight each other, we'll all lose by TKO with a couple of snoozes there. But he does agree with me that Devin is more entertaining. This one's really interesting. Can we get to this? Abdullah Mason is ready for Edwin De Los Santos. I love Abdullah Mason. Yeah.
Sure. Why not? I wouldn't mind that. That'd be interesting. Do we our next post fight live is going to be Jack Catterall, Regis Prograis. 2 weeks. Speaking of guys who were very exciting at their peak, we have to see what Regis Prograis still has. He's moving into big underdog territory, because if you look at the odds, and I just pulled them up, Jack Catterall was like 2-1. He's minus 460 now. Regis Prograis is plus 340. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, bro, am I just gonna have to bet Regis Prograis? I don't know. We're not gonna talk about it.
I might just take him on the money line. But the only way Regis is gonna win that fight is if he TKOs him or KOs him. Like, he's not Jack Catterall,
which he can do. He can still do.
And Catterall has got a little bit of power too. Like, he's got some pop. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Regis fights in this fight, because I think if he loses, does he hang up the gloves? I think that's a question we're going to be having, guys. And Hustleman, it's a question, but we're going to get into that in a couple of weeks, guys. Just a little bit of a preview. But Hustleman says, I still like Prograis over Catterall. He's a dog. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking Prograis just because. Yeah. Just because if you watch the show, you know how I feel about Jack Catterall. I'm a little bit of a hater. He's a good boxer, but just not my style.
I like Jack Catterall, but all right.
Ryan, who's a great friend of the show, Shantelle, Regis is getting smoked like a joint. Possibly, Ryan. Possibly.
Regis hasn't had a good performance in 2 years. 2 years.
Al the Pal, you know we're gonna cover this one.
Yes. You kidding? Yes.
This is a fight I've been waiting for a minute.
One of our first episodes, our first segments, which we've been doing the show since February of last year. So appreciate y'all for riding with us, and continue to tell your friends, because we're getting closer to 2,000 subscribers, which is a cool little milestone for our show. But yes, we're gonna cover this card because we asked Arnold Barbosa about fighting Jose Ramirez. Like we tried to make this fight happen once
Yeah.
upon a time.
It was when like Jose took a little bit of a layoff too, and that was after he lost to Josh Taylor. But from what I understand, Barbosa and Ramirez are pretty good boys. So this was a fight that should have been made a long time ago. Where is that fight? It's in Saudi.
Might be on the West Coast. Let me see.
It better be on the West Coast. Like I don't understand how that would make sense if it wasn't. If
Because
it's
when we
not
were
in
fantasy
Fresno,
booking this, we were trying to put this in Cali.
I don't think it's in Cali, dude.
It's in Riyadh.
I knew it, and it should be in Fresno. Like if you're from Cali, you're pissed right now. It should be in Fresno, or it should be at that StubHub Center. So I'm pissed because it should not be there. That's a terrible fight to be there. I'm sorry. Like all of Fresno would have showed out for this.
It is, yeah. Alfred asks if we're going to do the Japanese card. That's Monday morning. There's another. Actually, no, there's one tomorrow morning too.
Yeah.
Sunday morning is not happening. Yeah. But Nakatani is a -5. He's a -5,000 favorite. Is the problem.
I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna be Thanksgiving here in Canada on that day, by the way.
So no live show, probably.
Right, probably not this time. But if you guys really want it, put it in the comments and we'll talk about possibly making it happen. Ariane, if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize, but thank you for leaving a comment. Regis is a shot fighter, needs to have a farewell fight in Louisiana and walk away forever. Listen, man,
I'm not in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have to see what he does in this fight, because I do believe if he does have another bad performance, he has to hang up the gloves at that point, because I don't want to see Regis. I don't want to see Regis like how I saw Triple G.
Yeah, and Triple G didn't even go through like letting himself become a journeyman. You know what I mean? Like
not at all. Like he still looked good. And then all of a sudden they had that third Canelo fight, and you're like, oh, he's old.
And right? Even after that, it was still like, yo, he still might be the best middleweight in the world, because that was at super middleweight. And you look around, the 160-pound weight class is still pretty. Like Troy Isley, who we interviewed on the show, and we'll bring back at some point, is now bumped up to co-main because there was a fight cancellation. I think it was Brian Norman Jr. actually, and yeah, so that he's gonna be in this title picture soon. And this middleweight weight class doesn't have a lot of depth otherwise. Nakatani is he's gonna be Monday morning. Monday morning, and he's a -5,000 favorite. I'm not even joking. Like literally, it's -5,000 looking at it right now. Has a tough challenge though. Not really.
Nakatani is good. This is going to be a great. This like if you want to just watch action, this is the card to watch. If you guys
we'll probably do his next fight. I don't know if we'll do this one.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. You know, if you guys really want it, put in the comments. I will say we were only going to hop on here for like 20-30 minutes, but we like you guys so much. We did about an hour. I just want to say, and Brian would like to probably has the same consensus feeling. Thank you guys so much for rocking out with us on this Saturday afternoon or evening, depending on what coast you're on, depending on what side of the world you're on. You know, I know we had Australia in the house not too long ago as well. So we do appreciate you guys so much. If you like the content, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you already have, thank you so much. Shout out to Tyrone the Great, also Big Surge. They donated to the show, and we'll be back next week. We are going to review Undisputed, and if any news breaks out, we'll probably have a live show. Brian, final thoughts before we get up out of here.
We'll probably use that segment to talk about Nakatani too. Tim Tszyu fights next week, so maybe we'll talk about that. If you're interested, we're considering doing a fantasy basketball league with the listeners. So if you're interested in participating, holler at us. It'll be a money league, and it'll probably be 12 or so teams. We may do that. We want to do that. But if we get some people and people who are willing to pay up, then we could hammer down the details and do that. So if you're interested in losing in fantasy basketball, hit us up.
All right. Good night, y'all.